As Michael just mentioned, a leader of the ALP left faction has warned senior Labor figures to ditch their attacks on the Foreign Minister. Senator Doug Cameron's comments are the strongest endorsement of Kevin Rudd's credentials since leadership tensions heightened over the weekend.
I want the Labour Party to win the next election, and that means that we have to be disciplined, we have to stop all the nonsense that's going on at the moment, and we have to make sure that we stop running these character attacks on Kevin Rudd, because it's unfair, it's unprincipled, and it's not deserved.
Doug Cameron speaking there. Our political correspondent Melissa Clark joins us now from Canberra. Melissa, good morning. This war by proxies continues.
It's what we have in the latest round, or the latest bout, is a really robust defence of Kevin Rudd by Doug Cameron, which just shows what a messy battle this is. It's not a traditional one across factional lines. What we have is Doug Cameron saying that other members of the caucus shouldn't be engaging in gratuitous attacks on Kevin Rudd. He says that they all need to keep in mind he is a former Prime Minister and one that managed to achieve a lot, ousting Howard, bringing in the new Fair Work regime and getting rid of work choices and various other policies. And he says that Kevin Rudd should be treated as such. He goes on to say that to criticise others that have spoken out not only against Kevin Rudd but are continuing to give advice to Julia Gillard, which he didn't name Simon Crean by name, but it seems to be a fairly direct reference to him and his advice earlier in the week about what Julia Gillard should perhaps do. He called for ministers and parliamentary secretaries to show discipline that the backbenchers are expected to show. So it's, as the latest round, it shows just what an all-out brawl it is at the moment.
It is, and both Kevin Rudd and Prime Minister Julia Gillard are going on with their own business. Julia Gillard, again, over the next couple of days, is trying to capitalise on the Gonski report into school funding. Kevin Rudd is at the moment in Washington to continue his role of Foreign Minister, so this don't mention the war attitude very much continues.
It does, because we have Kevin Rudd saying that there isn't a challenge on, that he's very happy being Foreign Minister. Julia Gillard saying she's got the support of her caucus and that's all there is to it. Yet we have supporters of both sides making and continuing to make very barbed remarks, as the like of Doug Cameron has this morning. So it's become something of a war between supporters, with the two leaders trying to keep their noses clean at this stage. But it also means that it's much harder to predict what might actually come of this, given that both the leaders themselves at the moment aren't making steps towards a spill or a challenge, which means it really is a bit of a wait-and-see approach to see whether their supporters can manage to rustle up either, in the case of Kevin Rudd, enough numbers to make something happen, or in Julia Gillard to dampen things down enough to the point where it doesn't come to a head when the caucus meets again next week for Parliament.
And things don't get any easier for Julia Gillard. She was perhaps hoping for a respite from perhaps counting the numbers of any leadership challenge to hosting a dinner at the Lodge for those gay couples last night, where she was heavily lobbied by them to change same-sex marriage laws.
But interestingly, one of the couples said that they made a point of not asking her about the leadership tension, saying that she'd probably had enough of thinking about it and they were happy to give her a break from it. But that doesn't mean that the political difficulties end for the Prime Minister. It was a dinner she hosted with a number of gay couples that they had won the opportunity to have dinner with her at a lodge as part of a charity auction. It's taken some months for it to come about, but now that it has, they spent the meal explaining to Julia Gillard why they thought marriage equality should be something that should be legislated. Now, after the dinner, the couples have said that Julia Gillard was very warm and very open. They said they didn't manage to change her mind, but they didn't expect they would. But they said that the Prime Minister had mentioned that on numerous occasions that she thought a move to gay marriage was inevitable, and that there would also be international pressure that would also help bring that about. So the gay couples seemed to walk away quite satisfied from their dinner, even though they hadn't changed the Prime Minister's mind.
OK, Melissa Clark in Canberra, thanks very much.